You know what I hate? You know what I miss? I shouldn't say I hate. You know what I miss?
What?
I miss the 12 Supreme Days of Christmas. You know why?
Why?
For many, many reasons. One of the reasons is I hope everybody can hear us if we go live. When we go live, I hope everybody can hear us. I miss the camaraderie, the community, the giving. I feel so selfish. We're giving so many gifts away, and it's actually the donors, and we have special donors joining us tonight. Um, but the one thing that I really miss from the 12 Supreme Days of Christmas,
Hmm.
the singing.
I don't.
I think everybody misses my singing. Yesterday, all my trouble. Can't I sing a little bit? We're live, Nanette. We're live. Did you know that?
No. Nice morning. Thanks. I'm like emailing and texting people.
I saw that,
Nice.
and when you weren't looking, I took the opportunity to. I took the opportunity to start the live and chat a little bit. Folks, we've had an amazing last week. We've had one of our granddaughters over, and we've had a bunch of fun going to the lake and going all over the place, going out to dinner. Went to the Kilt yesterday. The Kilty yesterday in Wisconsin. If anybody in Wisconsin knows where the Kilty is, fantastic restaurant. Last week we didn't do a live show, and I apologize for that, but we went to, where did we go last week?
Oh, we went and saw
the Beatles. Saw the Beatles. Well, we saw two of the Beatles. We didn't see
we didn't.
two other. No, we didn't see the Beatles. We saw the Britons. We saw all four of the Britons. And they played for
3 hours.
3 hours. And they played
free
concert in Germantown, Wisconsin, at the Pavilion. And we just had a blast. And the coolest thing in the whole world to me, I'm a big Beatles fan, always have been. And I listen to all kinds of different music. But the cool thing for me was we put our lawn chairs down and a blanket. Crystal sat in front of us and sang the tunes, a lot of the tunes. You sang a lot of the tunes. And the funny thing is that neither one of you kind of knew all of the music that was attributed to the Beatles, that the Beatles wrote and sang. Other than like Hey Jude and Yesterday and some of the Strawberry Fields, some of those. But some of the older stuff you didn't. Are you having a hard time?
I got it.
You just have to reset.
You have to pad up and
refresh. So we had a great concert. We had a great time at the concert. I'm watching
this week.
Technological. How do you spell technological?
Well, you could probably spell it because you can't spell the word minute, so you probably would spell that right.
Did I misspell minute?
Yeah, you did.
Where did I misspell?
In the chat.
Oh, yeah, I don't care. People laugh at me in the chat, and that's okay. I laugh at myself. If that's the least thing. I mean, there's so many other things that people should be laughing at me about. So, Cassandra says Vicky is her aunt is a big Beatles fan. I'll throw on the Beatles every couple, 3-4 days and just play a whole day of the Beatles while I'm working in the office, and I'll go downstairs and listen. And that kind of, I can't do a lot without having some kind of music going in the background. I have to have music. Palm Street. You want to mention Palm Street just real quick? Kind of getting everybody up to date with our Supreme Gecko activities this week.
Oh, yeah, we did a Palm Street 2 nights ago. 2 nights ago? Yeah, 2 nights ago. Man, this week has been long.
It's been flying. You might have to speak up a little bit. I've got the mic kind of
we did a Palm Street 2 nights ago. And if you're in the chat and you were in it, thanks for joining us. Thanks, Frank, for moderating. Once I remembered to have you as my moderator. It was great. We had a lot of fun. We sold several animals, and next week I'll be doing lots of shipping. Hopefully with weather, we had to hold off on some of them because of the temperatures, but hopefully. We had 3 winners in our giveaways, which we have a giveaway tonight. You don't even know about it.
Oh, we do have a giveaway? That's cool.
I decided we're having a giveaway tonight.
So Hooked on Gecko says that she was so bored with you, Nanette, in the Palm Street that she fell asleep.
Well, with the fact that I couldn't figure out what I was doing half of the night, no wonder.
Nikki, I don't blame you.
If I could have left, I would have. I was so irritated with what I was not doing.
Did you have technological?
I had technological difficulties.
Everybody was so patient. We got through it. It's cool. One other thing before we bring our guests out, we have Blue Rose Exotics. And again, thank you, Blue Rose Exotics, for donating the 12 Supreme Days of Christmas, which is kicking off. Hooked on Geckos just asked me, what's going on with the logo? Do you want me to do the logo? I have to think about that and come up with the logo in the next week or so they can get started on that. 12 Supreme Days of Christmas, a long ways away, but we're just starting that process. But I did want to mention real quick, we put out a video about a week ago in this Gecko expert interview series that we're doing. And it was with Paul Morlock from the Rack House. And it was on gargoyles. And I tell you what, the information that was provided there was amazing. And this is a Buy Me a Coffee members first video. And we probably will keep it as a members first for another maybe month or two. And if you want to see this information, just amazing information Paul provided. And I think we talked for about 2.5 hours, and I whittled it down. I took out all the stuff that I said, all the blabbing that I was doing, because I do ramble. So I took all that down and off of the 2.5, and we got it down to about 2 hours, manageable for a good watch. But so much information. Bring a notepad, stop the video, write stuff down if you're really into gargoyles. And I think a lot of the information, a lot of it applies to crested geckos too. So we had a good time, Paul and I, and hopefully you guys, if you're members of the Buy Me a Coffee program, you get a lot of value out of that. And we have another one coming up probably within a couple of weeks on leaf tails from Australia with Phil Trumper. Without further ado, let's bring on. Did you have something, Nanette?
Nope.
Okay. Let's bring on Blue Rose Exotics. So we've known them for years and years, just from the shows. And I've said this before, folks. At a reptile show, I feel so in tune with helping customers. And I feel like if I leave our table, and go out and talk, which I want so bad to do, talk to other vendors, I feel like I'm neglecting our customers. And I hate feeling that way, and I can't get over it. But we should have been chatting so much with Blue Rose Exotics, and for that I apologize. We just don't get around that much. But
it's because I don't let you leave.
You don't. You
never come back.
I've got handcuff marks on my wrist and my ankles from you not letting me go away from the table. It's literally, hey, I've got to go to the bathroom. I'll be back in 2 minutes, and that's about my 1 or 2 breaks.
And that's only if I can see the bathroom.
Yeah, that's right. So that I don't wander away.
You could go across the hall and come back. Other than that, no.
So I'm going in and out. Let's bring on Blue Rose Exotics. Thanks for your patience. How are you guys doing tonight?
Good. How you guys doing?
We are doing great. We're doing great. And again, we're at these shows. You guys stop by. You say hi. If I am rounding the tables, I'll say hi to you guys. How's it going? But we never really get a chance to sit down and chat at a reptile show. We're just so busy, and I take full responsibility for that. So now's our time. Now's our time to kind of get to know Blue Rose Exotics and get to know you too. So why don't you guys introduce yourselves? And what I ask people to do is kind of talk about yourselves for a minute or two, your hobbies, jobs, family pets other than reptiles. Kind of give us a feel for what's going on at Blue Rose Exotics, if you would.
All righty. My name is Jennifer with Blue Rose Exotics. I've been in the animal industry for over 20 years. I'm very passionate about all animals. I started off kind of doing rescue with cats and kittens and stuff, and ended up getting into parrots, which I did for almost a little over 20 years. And then I've had snakes on and off, throughout my life, but never really kind of got into, I guess, the breeding or genetics of it. And I kind of wanted to downsize a little bit on the parrots and picked up on the reptiles. And once I started learning the genetics, and that's how John and I met, was kind of through a friend that I kept asking too many questions. He's like, here, you just talk to this guy. He'll answer all your questions, because I understood how genetics work through birds, but I wanted to learn how it worked through reptiles. And I became absolutely fascinated with them. And that's when I started actually breeding the reptiles. But I've always had some sort of mini zoo going on in the house. We have our own personal parrots as pets. We have, some people might see our Maine Coon with us at the shows, Duchess. She comes with us as well every once in a while. We keep a few things around. We keep a few tarantulas too. So we have a little bit of that. And then
I'm John. I've been keeping snakes since I was a little kid. I mean, a lot of kids were baseball or football. Me, I was in the ditch trying to find the turtle or the toad, and just kind of grew up into it. Drove trucks for 30 years, tow trucks and semis, and kind of worked around that. And the semis kind of kept me out of the industry part of it for many years. And then when I built my house, I started my collection, and I've been just a genetic nerd on them. For me, it's more of the animals, and figuring out what I can and cannot do with the genetics of them, and just been having a lot of fun raising them.
Genetics is an interesting aspect of our hobby, and I think that sometimes people will keep a snake or two snakes, or a turtle or a crested gecko, and not kind of have an outsider look at the genetics and not understand anything about genetics. And that's kind of unfortunate, because once you start playing around with genetics, it just kind of opens up another world. So if I understand correctly, Jennifer, you met John through some of this genetic discussion. So he started talking about phenotypes and recessive genes, and you were like all googly eye. That's what I'm hearing.
Kind of. I just really got intrigued because I'll be honest with you, reptile genetics, or at least with the snakes, whole lot easier than parrots. It's really easy.
Oh my gosh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I've got to ask this. You're talking about parrots. Did you have a large collection of parrots you're breeding? And how many do you have now? And how did you transfer into?
Well, breeding parrots is a 24/7, 365 kind of thing. And, my son was getting a little bit older, and I kind of wanted to not be, tied down 24/7, because it was definitely a lot of work. I still enjoy it. We still have a couple of pairs. We just do a little bit every now and then just because I enjoy it. But that was kind of just looking to just kind of downsize on that. And as I was downsizing on that, I got into, I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then, just asking questions, because I'm just that curious kind of person. I'm like, well, how does this work? And how does this work? And I have an understanding of genetics. I just want to know how it works with the ball pythons. And it kind of went from there.
And to be truthful, when she was asking the questions, a lot of the times it was kind of like the parrots are so different and more like the banana gene is a sex-linked gene in ball pythons. Well, you get a lot of that the split genes and stuff in the parrots. So when I'm trying to explain the snakes, I'm kind of trying to tone it down a bit for her, because she's just trying to make it a little bit more complicated than it needed to be.
But that's the hard part, is that you can spend a little bit of time with the basics, but you eventually have to get into, Punnett squares and talk about, double recessive het, codominant. You have to start talking about that stuff, because that's the underbelly of genetics. We're going to talk about genetics in just a minute. We talked a little bit about yourselves. Angie has a really good question, and I love your logo. Frank said he loves your logo. Many people have said that. Kind of tell us how you came up with the name Blue Rose Exotics. Kind of tell us how you came up with that logo.
Well, before this started, we were actually kind of separate. So it was Dynamite Reptiles and Tools Jewels. And, we kind of all got to be good friends. And it got to the point where half of my stuff was at his house, half of his stuff was over at our house. And we're just kind of like, okay, at this point, why don't we just kind of put it all together? And so we're like, all right, let's try to come up with something and just kind of put it all together. And John has an affection for blue-eyed Lucy's, hence the blue snake. And I've always kind of had a thing with blue roses. They've just kind of followed me all around in my life ever since I've been in high school. And I love the color blue. We both do, actually. So we just kind of put it together. And when we decided to do the rebranding like this, we put a lot of thought, a lot of effort into it. we selected a local artist. You might know her as obviously light-skinned if you see her at the expos.
Tell her thank you.
Yeah, she's amazing. She nailed it. I kind of showed her what I wanted and what we were thinking, and I literally had like one correction for her to make, and she just nailed it right off the bat. So it was super exciting. And then even like on our tables and stuff, our table runners were done by another local, a local vendor, Dawn from Rambo's, or he's Dusk to Dawn,
Yep.
Dawn to Dusk Creatures. Yeah. So she did our table runners and even like our t-shirts. We went to our local embroidery shop and had them do the shirts. It was really important to us to keep everything local.
Even the snake bags that we use when we sell the snakes, Dawn put together.
Dawn makes those for us too. So we're a small business. We like to support other people that are also small business. And that was something that was really important to us when we decided to do this new logo, was to really just kind of do as much as we could locally and support our community.
That is outstanding, and we try to do the same when we can, but sometimes we also try to support the 12 Supreme Days of Christmas vendors. But I love that, I love that idea of supporting local, because it just turns around. What comes around turns around. Your logo, I've got to ask you this. I have to ask you this, and we're going, super deep on this, but I love your logo because of a couple of things. Blue Rose Exotics, the blue, people are going to remember this. Even though I might not remember your name and put it on the YouTube video beforehand incorrectly, you look at this and Blue Rose Exotics immediately. What were a couple of your thoughts, other than it had to be blue? What were a couple of your thoughts about creating this logo? If anybody's interested in starting a business, this is a great segment for you right now.
Really, when you're looking at a logo, you're looking for something that is going to make you stand out, something that's going to be different from everything else that's out there. The color blue just happens to be our favorite color, and he just happens to love Blue-Eyed Lucy's. So we're just kind of talking back and forth, and just like the idea of the snake kind of going through. And I said, I want the two roses kind of in between the snake. Just thought it would look nice. And I have to actually give credit to obviously Light Skin, because she's the one who made those mini logos for us with just the rose on it. So she just kind of did that and just kind of included that for us, which was really awesome, because we used a lot of that on our stickers and our marketing. So something that's clean, something that's crisp. Your text, you want it nice and clean so you can read it easily from afar, and just kind of something that kind of catches your eye.
I love that, and I'm hooked on branding and marketing, and I like the sales part of what we're doing at Supreme Gecko, but the branding and the marketing is are kind of my high points of when I get a chance to work on stuff like that. So a business name, a logo are so important, because you don't want to be changing it after 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years. You certainly don't want to be changing it after 10 or 20, because people will start, even if it's, I hate to say it like this, but even if it's not a great looking logo or name, people kind of recognize it after a while. So you guys have nailed it with this. You mentioned the text, and we're not here to talk about your logo exclusively, but I want to point this out, folks. Your text in this is outstanding, because you can read it. Exactly the blue, everything stands out so that it's very recognizable. Well done. A++.
Thank you.
Thank you. I can't take much credit for it, though. She does. She does
I do a
most
lot
of the
of
marketing,
the online, the Facebook, everything.
That's kind of her thing. And then
he doesn't do a whole lot of technology stuff, so if it's on the computer, it's all on me.
I like to say at the snake shows, I clean the snake poop. She does the rest of it.
I'm a gecko poop cleaner myself, so I get it. It's and Frank, you're doing a great job. Thank you very much for sharing the links too. How soon, I've got to ask this, we're going to get into the snakes in just a minute, but how soon after you started your business, how soon after you said, let's do this as kind of, to make a little bit of money here, how soon did you start doing shows, create a website to start selling, things like that? When did you start thinking about, let's up the game a little bit?
I think we thought about it a lot before, but like for me, I still work a full-time job. So his full-time job, cleaning snake poop. My full-time job, I still have a full-time job. I work in accounting. So I still and work 40 hours a week and then come home. If I had more time, I'd love to set up an actual website. We just kind of started with the Morph Market about 2 years ago, and we just recently started our Facebook business page. I wish I would have gotten it done sooner, but time goes to taking care of the animals first. And no joke, you said, when did we decide we wanted to start doing this to kind of make money? I don't think we've started that yet.
No.
Because we just honestly, we go to the expo and we're like, okay, we need to make enough money to feed everybody at home so we can keep doing our hobby and what we love.
You caught me mid mouthful of iced tea here, so that was a close one. I almost had to end the show because the camera got stuff on.
Right. For me, I've been doing, going to shows since I was a little teenager. The Scott Smiths used to be called something else. Used to be at a horse farm out there, and I literally used to drive my rusty old Camaro out there, and I'd have one sheet to throw over the table and hopefully enough cups to hold all the animals. And that's kind of how I got started. Just, she's really the one that once we started getting together and the Blue Rose things, the customers are really what made Blue Rose.
Yeah, the support from our community.
Yeah, because we did this because we loved the look, we loved the color, and it just people just really responded to it. So that's kind of when we just kind of grew the table.
Love it. You mentioned that show. That was the Lee Watson all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh yeah.
I hate to do this, but I'm going to take a minute here and tell a really funny story. And maybe a couple of people have heard this, but I started doing the Lee Watson show about 23 years ago. And the first show, message, yes, I want to do it. Okay, you have a table, come down. And made it down there. I don't know what I'm doing. I've got probably 20 animals to put on the table. I'm setting up. I'm nervous. My palms are sweaty. I'm ready to cry because I have no idea what to do here. And I'm setting up, and this old guy stops by the table. Hey, how's it going? Good. Wally Kern, how are you doing? And he said, hi, my name's Lee. And he kept talking. I never made the connection. And we were talking about, customers. And I said, I'm kind of nervous. And he was just as calm and after he left, and we talked for probably 10 minutes, and just the nicest person. And he left, and somebody kind of walked over and said, you know who that was, right? That was Lee Watson. It was like, what? The person that sponsors the show and coordinates, but just the nicest guy. Super good experience from day one until we're not able to do the show anymore, but just a great guy. Wonderful.
Yeah, he used to let people set up because the line would go out from the back of the barn all the way down the road, and he used to let people set up for free outside the show if they had a few items.
Very, very cool. Good guy. So when did you, after you kind of established everything, when did you start doing shows? Have you been doing shows like from the beginning, or?
Well, I've been doing expos and shows with the birds for, like I said, over 20 years. So for me to transition into the reptiles was kind of a fairly easy transition. But I know you were working truck for a long time, so it took a while.
When I had the house built, I built my snake room in the basement, and it's always been, what can I make? Every animal I have, it's not because I want to go and make a ton of money at it. There's certain things in my brain that I want to work with the animal, and everything I brought to the show in the beginning was just the extras, the ones that I didn't hit right, or whatever you want to say.
What we wanted to achieve.
Yeah, it's always just been fun to hang out and go see what I can get rid of.
Nice. I have to ask, I hear a squeak is that your chairs? Are your chairs squeaking?
Probably one of the birds. We're set up where the birds are off to our left, so I apologize if there's a little background noise from them.
What's the birds' names? And what kind?
Which one?
All of them.
Let's see. We've got a yellow-naped Amazon named Baby, our African gray CJ. I have a Quaker parrot named Kobe. We've got a Senegal named Otto, a pair of canaries. Those are his. And then I've got a couple of Bork parakeets, and that's the ones you're hearing kind of singing in the background.
Yeah, and then there's
and Karma. Karma's the green cheek.
Wow, that's some kind of a collection. I've got to bring up this comment real quick here. I just started and now I've lost it, but
Hit the start.
yeah, I'll just do that. So from Carolyn, Illinois Valley Geckos, we always specifically ask to be next to them for majority of our shows. What kind of a testimony is that? That's incredible.
They had
Incredible.
We
Did
think
they-
that is so sweet that she does that. We didn't know that at first. We're just like, oh, you're next to us again. You're next to us again. And
Yeah.
we just think that's really cool. I mean, they're both awesome people. And that's one of the things I can honestly say about the reptile industry versus the bird industry. The reptile industry is just full of just amazing, wonderful people, vendors who work together and coordinate instead of like competing against each other. In our kind of like small group of vendors that we travel to a lot of the expos together, one of the things we always say is, competition happens at the bottom, collaboration happens at the top. And we love that.
And it's fun too, because like her, she always says she has this outfit. I apologize. I don't do what she does, but she,
For her Renaissance stuff.
Renaissance stuff. And
Yes.
I like watching her on Facebook, and she's always changing her outfit, and it's really cool to watch.
Love seeing those pictures. We had Carolyn and Dustin on 3 weeks ago ish, and we had a blast. Couple weeks, 3 weeks.
Mhm.
Seems like just yesterday, but yeah. Actually, the funny thing is that whoops, I
Well, you
almost
can
spilled
say,
the
'cause
beans,
the
but
girls-
the
they're
girls
in here.
might be listening. So
There was-
never mind. I didn't say anything. Almost.
No,
I
you
almost.
can.
I probably
They're not
did blow it.
watching us. No, they're not.
Ruh-roh.
watching.
So you guys keep you guys keep
I'll put it in the
snakes.
chat.
Okay, and they'll see it in the chat.
They aren't watching.
I've got to ask this. Bomb Exotic says, "What's your favorite part of doing shows and why?"
The people. Definitely the people.
a couple shows ago, I think it was at the Schaumburg show. It doesn't matter. A man walks up and he had his 3 sons, and they were just walking along, going, "Ooh, wow, ooh, cool, Dad, look at this." And I looked at their dad and I said, "That's my favorite part of coming to show."
I always say, I want to find one person who maybe has a fear of or is scared or is unsure about a snake, and they're like, "Oh, I'm afraid to hold it." And like, "Well, why?" I'll ask them like, "Why? What makes you nervous, or what are you afraid of?" And to be able to talk to that person, and by the end they're holding a snake and they think it's the coolest thing ever. Like the education to people, encouraging the young children to have an interest in these animals respectfully, respecting the animals, teaching them how to handle them. That by far is, we all need to do that. We all need to help educate the young kids and spark that interest in them.
You literally, word for word, took the words out of my mouth. Like almost every show, my favorite part is doing exactly the same. Somebody taking the step back, and looking at what you have and taking that step back. And then by the end, they're, if not holding it, at least I'll go this far. I'll touch it.
Or
I'll
finger.
touch the snake.
Yeah.
And for somebody to do that, it's like, that's the show right there.
Always-
That's the show.
I always tell them I'll hold the bitey end.
Yeah.
There you go. I'm going to hide this. I don't know what I just said. I think somebody had a good question and I just hid it. But Frank is saying, and I think he means your eyes, not the snake's eyes, but to see the sparkle in their eyes is amazing.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
Frank, you have to clarify whose eyes. Let me show this. So you guys don't just do snakes. You're doing all kinds of animals, right?
It's
Yeah, we've branched out more. I would say it probably started mainly with the ball pythons. And then I happened to be at an expo one time, and I talk a lot with my hands. So here I am talking to a customer, and my hand was out like this, and the vendor next to me had crested geckos, and it just jumped over onto my hand, and I froze. And I'm like, what do I do? I don't know what to do. It's on me. Because I had never held a crested gecko before. And then he started walking on me, and I felt him on me. I'm like, oh, I'm in trouble. That's coming home with me. And that's where my love for geckos started. And his name is Stickers, and I still have him. And he's my little buddy, crested gecko. And that's where that whole one started.
How cool is that? So you froze. Was it because you were afraid, or you just didn't know what to do with
I
it?
didn't know what I was doing. I didn't want to hurt him. I was afraid he was fragile. I'd heard the whole dropping the tail thing. I'm like, oh God, this isn't mine. Don't drop your tail. So I guess I just froze because I didn't know what to expect. I'd never held one before, and it just kind of jumped over and startled me. So I'm like, how do I give this back?
I love the name Stickers. Stickers with an S.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So
Yeah.
this is a loaded question because I know the answer, but are you breeding crested geckos by chance?
So just a few, just kind of for fun, just kind of enjoying on the side. We do want to bring some variety to the table. Crested geckos, I think, make amazing pets. So definitely, yeah. So yeah, that's our two first babies for this year that have hatched, and we were super excited on those two. So yeah, just a little bit, just to have a little bit on the table. Yeah, have a little bit of variety. Try to be able to have a little bit for everybody.
Love it, love it, and that's such a key comment if you're doing shows. And again, I feel bad and I apologize, but I say that every show or every live stream about reptile shows is diversify, and you're going to sell something. Even on bad days, something's going to be selling somewhere along the lines, right?
Yeah, and that really I think is for people who are interested in getting into this hobby. Limiting yourself to just one thing, it makes it a whole lot harder. There are shows we go to and we're like, we maybe sell one snake, but we sell a ton of geckos, or like corn snakes or king snakes. And there's times that we go and we sell a ton of ball pythons and don't sell a single gecko. So I think if you're in this industry, diversifying yourself, I mean, even for you, Wally, I mean, you don't just do crested geckos, you do a variety of geckos, and beautiful, beautiful geckos, I might add, but you don't limit yourself just to one kind because you want to have that variety.
That's not the reason. I just get bored easy, so I just want a lot of stuff to keep. Leopard geckos. Are you guys doing leopard geckos too?
Just a few. I have a friend I get them from every once in a while because they don't go to shows, and so I will take them for them and bring them again just to bring a little bit of variety to the table, something a little different. Some people don't want the gecko that can climb all the way up the side of the glass. They prefer the leopard gecko that stays a little bit lower. They are a different type of gecko, so just having that variety. Both are cute.
And having friends in this hobby, you sometimes find people like that. They want to have the fun with the gecko or whatever the different type of snake, but they don't want to go to the show and sit all day. So we'll take those animals and set them on our table and find them a new home.
Oh, there you go. Perfect. I was almost going to make a joke about this picture, but somebody in the chat beat me to it, and I'm still going to make the joke.
I'm worried now.
I know, right?
So you sell kittens too?
Oh,
and then somebody says that you guys sell kittens.
We do have some munchkin kittens from time to time when we have them. The Scottish fold munchkins, the Persians and the Bengals, just once in a while. That's a kind of a collaboration with Chris. You'll see him at the expos too.
Yep.
I don't know if he's too busy. If he doesn't want to pop his head in here and say hi. Hey, Chris, come pop your head over here and say hi. Well, put the phone down. Come pop. We're gonna let Chris kind of just pop his head in here and say hi, because this is kind of his little project too. You got to get in there so they can see you. He's just waving hi. Get back here so they can see you. Chris, whatever.
Oh,
How's it
I was sitting
going?
listening to you.
How's it going?
Going good. How you doing, Wally?
I'm doing really
So
well.
you'll see-
Great to see you. You always,
Yeah,
every
you.
show, I walk by the table, and the one thing that I'll say about every single show is you have a smile on your face all the time. All the time.
He does. So he's part of the Blue Rose crew, you could say. And then
Yeah.
Jordan, our son, I don't know where he's at right now, but it's the Blue Rose crew, and we all really do this. We work together on it. But the cats is kind of a me and him kind of thing. So he kind of takes the lead on those guys, and we bring him when we can go to like Scott Smith's and stuff like that. We bring the kittens, so keeps him out of trouble.
Well, Jennifer and John, I really appreciate this. Is going to be a kind of a little bit of a show and tell. So thanks for your very first show and tell item there. Thanks, Chris.
He's like, I'm out.
So I'm going to get back over
Do you
to
guys work with miniature goats?
Nanette's asking, do you work with
No,
miniature
Frank is
goats?
asking, do you work with miniature goats? Nanette would be interested.
Oh,
No miniature goats.
no good.
Oh, and Angie wants to see the cup that Jennifer's drinking out.
Oh, okay. Hold on just a second. Let me
Oh.
get this off.
Oh,
You want me to show? Okay. So remember how we said we love to work with people locally, and one of our customers who purchased some snakes from us, they also do cups and they do little coasters. If anybody came to NARBC and bought an animal from us, they got the little car coaster. That was also made by the same lady, but she made this awesome cup for us.
oh wow.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's like all glittery. She asked me, she's like, "Do you like glitter?" I'm like, "I like it, but not like if it's loosened on me."
Yeah, I don't want it.
So, but she made this awesome cup for us, and so I use that all the time, or sometimes I'll take it to expos.
So that's like a Foster's Lager beer, like one of those beer, big, 32 ounce Colt 45.
Yeah,
It looks like a really super big
Frank
can.
says it looks like an exotic energy drink.
Oh, there you go. I like that. Let's talk snakes. So you do leopards, you do crusteds, you do kittens too. It sounds like, but your passion is snakes, obviously, and
Yes.
that's super cool. And this is both John and Jennifer,
Mhm.
and it's genetics. We're going to talk about genetics too, but give us a kind of I don't know, overview of. And I don't say this to flex or anything, but how many are you keeping, and how much work is that for you guys?
Well, we don't count numbers because it varies with babies. So, but
Absolutely.
it's definitely John's full-time job. So
Yeah.
that's what he does all day, is takes care of the snakes and stuff. I work a full-time job and come home, and then I'm usually taking care of like the geckos and the other guys.
For me, the snake room is pretty well organized. I mean, there's plenty of animals in there. The main room is about a little over 200 breeder size females, and then I have an assortment of males that we use to bring in. But if anything new comes into the breeder room, then something old needs to come out. We're at the top.
Yeah, we have a set limit that we work with,
Yeah.
and when we have something out of the whole back rack that grows up and is ready to come in, then we got to make the really tough choice
Yeah.
of which one are we gonna kind of move along. So,
But I keep it, one day this, one day that, one day the other kind of thing.
he's got a good system.
I like that, and I think that as you grow and grow and grow, there's a couple of things that you just said that are so important. And we could delve into this for a whole show. One is know your limits and establish and don't.
Definitely know your limit.
Yeah.
I found my limits a few years ago.
And the other thing is,
You haven't.
I kind of have. The other is process, and it sounds like you have a process, and
Right.
it sounds like you have, your schedule and what you're doing at what time, and that's super cool. And I really think those two factors are so underrated in this hobby. I think sometimes people just go overboard, and then it's like, oh my gosh, I just got 20 pair of crested geckos, and now I have 200 babies, and I'm putting them in coffee cans and poking. Nah, people don't.
No,
You got to be prepared ahead of time, I think, if you're going to do that. And we've kind of got, like I said, like he said, a good system going that we know if there's something we want to add genetic wise to the room, it's always got to be something that's going to improve on what we have. And usually, like I said, we've got so much room, so we got to be prepared for that to go out. And that's just kind of how we do it.
Well done. So give us a typical, before we start taking a look at some of these snakes, give us a typical day in the life of you guys.
she goes to work.
I have to go to work. I still keep telling I just want to stay home and do snakes. But I would, if I had the choice or the opportunity, I would stay home. I would focus more on our online presence and work more hands-on with the animals, because that's something that I love to do. But for Don, he cleans all day.
Well, a typical for me for a week is you have the show, we come home, we unpack. And then the next morning, I'll usually do all my frozen thawed stuff, because a lot of customers like frozen thawed. So we try to keep that mostly for the animals that we're selling or for the babies. I see who will take it, and I keep my cards. That's one thing I do for the customers. I keep my food cards and I bring them to the shows. When I sell you my snake, you're getting their food cards. Whether they're eating good or bad, you know it.
Yeah.
But it tells you what they're eating and whether or not it's frozen thawed. But I do that all on the first day. The second day is usually I go get the live and feed off the live. And then midweek, I'll do my project, breeding or pairing up or whatever. Right now, thank God, most of the clutches are actually in the incubator.
Big focus on cleaning, reorganizing, moving them stuff for the new.
Whether it's Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, there's always a group of animals, a wall, a section, or whatever that gets cleaned. No matter what the project for the day, I do my cleaning first.
I'll ask Angie's question, then I'll come back to mine. I usually do it the opposite and make Angie wait, but we'll do it, I guess, the right way this time. Angie is asking, do you breed your own rodents?
Oh, good Lord,
no. I wish we could, but we don't have the time to do that, to be honest. We do have just a few pairs that we keep on hand in case we've got babies that need to be fed more frequently. Or the mice we do when we need, a couple hoppers, especially for the like the rosy boas or the sand boas or something, we'll do the mice. But other than that, no, we actually purchase a bulk of what we have. Maybe if I wasn't working, we had a whole lot more property and land and facilities, and maybe we could do it, but right now it's not feasible.
It would have to be outside the house.
Yes, outside and separate building, and maybe someday.
A little, instead of a she shack, you'd have like a rodent shack or something.
The rat shack.
The rat shack. Yeah.
Isn't that a B-52 song?
That might be.
Anyways, bad joke. You're talking about records, and I'm going to see if I can zoom in on this. And I don't know if this is feeding records or laid. It looks like more like laid, but it looks
so
like
that's our clutch card. So again, I'm the computer person, so I keep track of everything on Excel spreadsheets, and we are very diligent about keeping records, keeping track of genetics. Again, we love genetics, so for us, keeping track of everything is really important. And so we do these cards so that we can keep track of the females as we're breeding them. If we see locks, and then the dates that they lay, how many eggs, and then 50, 55, and 60 are the 3 dates that we try to keep track of, because that's when they might be pipping. So that's when we kind of want to look at them and say, hey, we need to be checking them by this date and make sure they're not pipping out yet.
And that's pretty important, especially with the rotation, because over the years I even have my very first one. That's where they end up as they're hatching, is in the very first one. But there's actually
we run 4 incubators.
5 incubators.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5. We run 5 different incubators. So
5 different incubators.
Yeah, one of our incubators, we joke around, we call it our slow cooker.
Yeah.
Because we do breed some what people would call super blacks, which is like super cine, super black pastel, or combinations of, and those are very prone to having issues like the kinking and shark mouth. And we have found that if we quote unquote, we say slow cook, we joke. We're not cooking them, I promise. But we put them in an incubator at a lower temperature and allow them to incubate longer. And we have almost completely eliminated any issues when we're hatching them.
Wow. How did you find out about that? Was it experiments, or did just talking, networking?
Yeah,
it's pretty much a thing in the industry. A lot of people do when they're dealing with ball pythons. They all know it. And that's kind of where I figured it. I heard it and I took it on. But
let's try this.
I've been at this for a little over 40 years. I can remember Nerd.
Reptile.
I don't know why I can't remember his name.
Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin
Yeah.
McCurley. He one of his first clutches ever. I remember reading up on it or hearing about it, but he actually cut small holes in the eggs and incubated them at certain temperatures, and he could see through the
top.
The development of the snake and how well it or how long it took to develop. And I remembered that from him, and I learned a lot about incubation by reading that kind of thing.
Wow. That's simply amazing. And obviously Nerd is one of the top, snake breeders in the country.
Definitely.
It's cool that it's cool that he shared that information, but it also takes you as a hobbyist, as a breeder, to pick up on that and go, I'm having some success with this, but let me change everything around and try this, and it might not work, and I might lose all my animals. But it's pretty cool that you change some things up, and you're having a huge success with that. That's super cool.
Fun fact about Kevin is a lot of times with the U.S. Arc, everybody in the industry, with gecko or snake, knows U.S. Arc, I hope. But they actually, he does a lot. Like when they go to court, he's one of their witnesses that will go in and explain things about these animals. The man knows his stuff when it comes to these guys.
And he's outspoken, and he's I think fair and honest. So that's great attributes by far. You mentioned the black snake, and I'm going to show I think I've already showed my snake ignorance by saying that was feeding records instead of egg clutch records. So I'm already behind the 8 ball on that. But the black snake, is this the one right here?
No, that's a California king snake.
You had one up a minute ago.
Did I really?
Yeah, okay, you did. Well, it's part pied. The picture you have is a super black with a
black and white one.
It's a panda pied.
Not this one, right?
No, not that one.
No.
What kind is that one? While you talk about that, I'm going to switch over to the other one.
I think you got that one in the tub.
Yeah, the one in the picture I have in the tub. But no, it was the one we're talking about is the panda pied. A lot of people, it's called panda pied because it's black and white, and a lot of people like the pieds. But that's one of the ones that we would incubate at the lower temperature to make sure they come out okay.
Is this the one or not?
No, I think it's one of the ones it's one of the ones I sent you, I think.
Yeah, solid black.
Solid black. Okay, I gotcha.
I think you got it. Let's see.
I've got like a bunch of pictures here. Bear with me for a second, folks.
You went fishing on Facebook.
Yep. Not this one. I don't think
the one before it, maybe? No, the black one.
I showed that one already.
Oh.
Oh, that. See, if I'm wrong here, I'm just moving on.
That's it. Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Yep, well, that's it.
As they say, even a blind squirrel will find a nut once in a while.
No, you're doing great.
Yeah, the solid black on that is a solid black snake, but that one just happens to be pied as well, so it's showing some white through.
That one's really cool because you look at that one in the sunlight, and the black is like iridescent. It's absolutely beautiful.
Nanette is asking, what does pied mean?
The blank part of the pattern there, the missing parts, that's what we call pied in a lot of different animals. It's not just in ball pythons, but it's just where it could be high white or it could be low white, but it's just missing the pattern.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talk about the genetics of this animal. What makes it so dark and just so strikingly different? I mean, I've seen pieds before, but I don't think I've ever seen one so different in contrast, body contrast.
Well, it's a black pastel or cinnamon.
I think it's actually a black pastel cinnamon. Those are allelic genes, but I think it's both. Yeah.
So on the base form, you got a black pastel, which has pattern, and it's a darker animal. But when you double up the allele, like the pattern one is just on one side of the allele. It's not really a step ladder, but most people think of it as a step ladder. It's more, but anyway, when you have black pastel on both sides of that ladder, it becomes complete. They call it an incomplete before and a complete after. When you complete that allele, it becomes a solid, in this case, becomes a solid black snake.
They're two allelic genes, and when you have them both in the same snake, it turns black like that for this one.
Wow.
Another one people know is the Lucy, the white snake with the blue eyes. You can do lesser to lesser, and when you hit the lesser from both mom sides and dad at the same time, you get the white snake with the blue eyes.
Everybody's asking if Nanette will get one or two of these, and are you thinking about snakes now? No? Okay. So she says no. Sorry, folks. So is this now again, I'm showing my snake ignorance here, but is this repeatable? Can you reproduce these consistently?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can reproduce them. So the pied is a recessive gene, so you have to have that on both sides, mom and dad. And then with the black pastel and cinnamon, or the combination of the two, again, same thing. You have to get one copy from mom, one copy of dad. So they're not easy to produce. We kind of get excited when we produce one. And there's actually something called the white panda. These are called panda pies, or something called the white panda, which is the exact same thing, but they happen to come out solid white, which kind of defeats the purpose because most people like the black and white look. But every once in a while you get a white panda and it's just solid, bright white. It's probably the brightest white snake you could get your hands on.
It is.
Sounds interesting, but you know where I'm going with this. In my mind, this is the snake that you want. You want something with all that contrast. I mean,
Yeah.
we can talk genetics, and we can talk with the hobby, the deep down hobby that the experts like and all that. But to see an animal like this sitting on a table, this is striking and will stop somebody in their tracks, right?
Absolutely. And that's a lot of it too at the expos and stuff. You can have this really like high-end genetic snake, but somebody walks up and sees this beautiful 2-gene animal, like even like a cinnamon fire is really pretty. And they're like, that's the one I want, So it's all kind of what's appeasing to each person.
Well, when it comes to, sales and stuff, sometimes basic is better. I mean, like a banana gene, I can put 4 or 5 genetics in a banana, and I can set it on a table with 4 straight bananas, just a single gene banana. And they love the orange in there when it's just a pet value.
Yeah.
They love the orange in the simple, just basic banana that they'll buy up those 4 before they even look at the other one.
And I think it's different worlds. We're talking, reptile shows where, in the very beginning, when I started keeping crested geckos, my goal immediately was to have the reddest animal on the table that I possibly could have. The reddest animal I could have. Now, for other breeding purposes, I'm playing around with other things to try to get combination, blah, 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 that the hobby likes. I still love red sitting on a table, and a snake. I'm going to throw it again. A snake like this sitting on the table would stop me, even if I didn't know what the heck I was looking at.
The unfortunate part is that snake will never make it to my table anytime soon.
What about keepers? Yeah.
Until you make lots and lots and lots more.
I'll work on that for you.
Thank you.
That's the hardest part when we're sitting there, we're opening eggs, and we're like, oh, here's all these beautiful snakes, and we're like, I want that one and that one, and we're like, we can't keep them all.
I remember watching a video from Nerd actually with Brian Barcha came to visit Kevin, and Kevin handed him one of his snakes that he had just made, and Brian looks at him and says, "Oh wow, that's so cool. What's in it?" And Kevin looks at him and says, "Well, what do you want there to be in it?" There's so many genes in it.
Whatever you want.
Whatever you want.
I can imagine Brian just looking at him and just smiling.
Oh yeah, they laughed about it.
Absolutely.
I'm going to show some other snakes, and if you wouldn't mind, talk about the genetics and anything special about these snakes. I'm just going to kind of flip through some of these pictures, so bear with me if something comes up in the wrong order.
I can't see the writing on that one.
Yep.
That's the lemon blast that we thought in the beginning.
Yeah. So we purchased that one as a het ultramel, possible visual. We weren't sure when it was younger. So we're working on proving that one out to see, if it actually ends up being visual or het. At this point, at this age, I do think it's a het ultramel, but that's going to be a really exciting clutch.
For instance, if we didn't know yet, the pairing for this clutch would have been to find out if all the babies come out, because dad is ultramel, we know that. If all the babies come out with ultramel, then we know mom is definitely visual.
How much of that do you have to do? I know the leopard world, and I know that there's a lot of people breeding a lot of different animals with a lot of different hets, with a lot of mixed up hets as well. But I know there's several breeders that are getting new animals into their collections and breeding through to prove out the genetics for 2, 3, 4 generations, just to make sure the animal that they have doesn't have Trumper and Bell and Rainwater. How much of that do you guys need to do with your snakes when you bring in a new snake?
Well, nowadays they do have I would say kind of a quick answer to that. They do have shed testing. RGI has shed testing now. We don't really do shed testing because the fun for us is pairing them, waiting for the eggs to hatch, and then seeing what we get. So we enjoy doing it the old-fashioned way, and just kind of, going through and pairing up and wait until the babies come and see if we're right or if we're wrong or what comes out.
Very interesting. I forgot all about that. And
That's like getting an ultrasound when you're pregnant and knowing what you're going to have.
But we have an ultrasound
Yeah.
machine too, actually. We actually ultrasound our snakes when we think that they're gravid. We have an ultrasound machine and we go down there and we actually ultrasound them and we can see the eggs. It's really cool.
Sure. Well, even my Lucy passion, I've tried never to go out and buy a Lucy.
He's got to make it.
If it's a purple passion or a crystal or a straight white snake with blue eyes, all those are different types of Lucy's using a combination of different bell genes, bamboo or lesser Mojave.
He won't buy it. He's got to make it himself.
I got to make it. And that's the fun. I want to, my first purple passion, I didn't go buy it. I made it.
I like that. It's hard because I'm standing on the fence. On the one hand, I love doing that too. And oh my gosh, I got 1 out of 12 of these babies that hit on what I had hoped for. I'm so excited. On the other hand, I just paid $25,000 for a snake, and I don't want to gamble for 2 or 3 years. I want to know, like, right now. I want to prove this out just to save time. So I think there's pros and cons to both methods, right?
Well, that and like one of the genes I'll show later, sometimes you run into things that you didn't know about, and it turns out to be the best surprise in the world.
And those you do have to take years and years and years to prove out because
it's only taken me 6 years.
A male can be ready to go in about a year and a half, but a female could be 2, 3 years even before before they're going to be able to be bred. So you got to think, that process, it takes a really long time to get there.
Yeah.
Wow. Good point. Really good point.
That, and when you're dealing with an animal that if it decides that the weather's not good or didn't get enough food, it can choose whether it actually goes through ovulation or not. And then you're waiting a whole nother year.
Wow. Right. It's a tough ball. It's a challenge for sure. What is this guy or girl?
That's a pastel highway. So that's
highway.
Pastel highway. So we're talking about those allelic genes earlier that made that black snake. The allelic genes here are gravel and yellow belly. So it's usually just a highway would be, a darker snake with the pastel. It really, really lightens it up, makes that hide almost white there, and gives it that really cool pattern. There's highways, there's freeways, there's a whole list of them. Highways are made with yellow belly and gravel. Freeways are asphalt and yellow belly, and are a little bit darker, but they're a pretty striking pattern. And, a lot of people see those right away on the table. Like the other snake, it just draws their attention.
Yeah. This whole group of babies here with this picture, they were
all supers.
They were all supers. So it was a super gravel to a puma.
What for our viewers, what does super mean? When you add the adjective super, what does that mean?
Anytime you double up on the allele, the mom and dad split their alleles. Okay, so if you have this, you've got gravel on one side, and then you've got yellow belly on the other. So when they split their allele, and mom gives half, dad gives half, what happens is you're either getting gravel or you're getting yellow belly. All the babies for this one in this picture will not be a normal. They're either going to be the gravel or they're going to be the yellow belly, and then the pastel will mix in.
And then when you hear the term super, a lot of times you'll hear like super pastel or super enchi. That means that if it's a super, that the baby has 2 copies of those genes, one from mom and one from dad, creating the super. So, in this case with the highway, with the pastel highway, the super is 2 separate different genes, but they share the same allele, still creates a super. Or it could be super pastel where they get 2 copies of the pastel gene. So it works in 2 different ways.
Or like we did this year, again, it's my second time ever. You could have a Jurassic Park idea where mom just shares her allele with every baby. and they call that what's the word I'm looking for? Parthenogenesis. That's a whole different story.
That's a whole nother story.
Wow.
Let's not confuse them here. I think we're
No,
hurting his brain a little bit.
There's so many different levels to genetics, and I feel like I have a good understanding, but not a great understanding, simply because I've worked with leopard geckos for a long time.
Mhm.
We're hearing more and more of these super genetics, especially with, they've been around forever, obviously, even with leopard geckos, super snows.
Oh, wow.
We're hearing more and more, and people are being introduced to the super concept, especially with crested geckos, right, viewers? Where we're hearing about like super caps, maybe super caps being cappuccinos, super
Right.
cappuccino crested geckos being a problem because of some issues genetically. So, and I'm not trying to say that supers are bad. I'm trying to say that we have to watch our collections and watch our breeding, which you guys are obviously doing a wonderful job with.
There's many things with the ball pythons that way. Like I would never take my spider to a champagne. They share the allele, and it's a death sentence to all the babies. So I'm not going to bother doing that.
Yeah, not all supers are
when you're mixing this stuff. When you're mixing genetics, the thought that I always keep in mind is I'm not just mixing the color or the pattern or whatever I'm trying to make. I'm mixing all the genetics. So I got to know, what's that? How is that going to affect the babies? Because that's not something I want to do.
It feels like, and I want to show more snake pictures here in just a second. And you guys, if you want to bring a show and tell out, other than Chris, we've seen Chris. So if you want to bring a different show and tell, feel free. I do want to ask, though, your opinion of shed testing. And I understand you like to see the results and play around with that. And that's a lot of fun. Do you think that shed testing, and if anybody doesn't know, shed testing came on the scene about a year or two ago, or maybe more. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong, but it's where you can send in your shed and they can take the snake's shed and they can test exactly. If I'm saying it wrong, please correct me. They can test exactly what's in that snake for genetics. Right?
Yeah, and so one of the good things about that is, if you're breeding something and you end up with a baby that's possibly had for, a not common gene like say monsoon, that's one that a lot of people are looking at right now, or sunset. Some people don't want to wait and grow up that female for 3 years only to find out she's not het. So it does save a whole lot of time, costs a little bit of money, but saves you some time in doing that. So that you kind of know what you're working with without, spending all that time and money to grow them up.
And a lot of times you can pay just for, like if you want to find out if your snake is a het clown, you can just pay for that genetic. And they'll only look for that genetic. But
Or you do a full panel and you can test for everything they currently have available. And they're constantly adding to that. I know I've seen them on Facebook where they're like, send in your sheds for this because we want to get more genetics so that we can offer it as a shed test.
That's something to keep in mind too. When if you're just getting into this, or you find them and you get the kit and everything, and you're like, oh well, they're going to tell me everything that's in that snake. No, they're going to tell you everything that they know of so far. So there are some genetics that just they haven't found the protein or the
genetic code
for it yet, is an easy way of saying
it. Angie, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Angie is asking, good time for this question. And people, if you have questions, viewers, if you have questions, go ahead and ask right now. Did you start, Nanette? Yeah. Okay. Angie's asking, are ball pythons your main breeding project?
Yeah, definitely.
They are. They're not the only.
No, but it's definitely the main thing. We really enjoy the genetics of the ball pythons, and we've got a couple of projects that we're working on in our room. John kind of touched base on it earlier. Sometimes weird looking stuff will pop up in your collection. And that's one of the things we really, really enjoy. And we're shed testing, like we said, can't always test for everything. Sometimes you got to do it the old fashioned way, and you just kind of got to breed to kind of determine, is this something that's a new gene? Is it reproducible? Is it something that, maybe somebody else has and you just don't know about it yet? So.
Yeah, and that kind of leads in, if I could, to go to on one of the genetics we brought up with us.
A little show and tell.
Yeah.
Show and tell.
So why don't you tell them how you found this in the first place?
I'll try to make it as short as I can. But about 6 years ago, a friend of mine sold me a few snakes, and I thought I could see something in the animal more than normal. So I bred it, and then it all came out the same. And my son was like, well, if it all came out the same, if you put a recessive gene, like we were talking about pied, if you put pied to pied, the whole clutch becomes pied. I was like, maybe he's right. So I took that female that year to a pastel clown. And when my wife at the time sent me a picture of the clutch when it hatched, this little lady here, I don't know if you guys can see her. Yeah, see if we can hold her up.
I can show her off.
She's got a solid stripe down her and a bunch of markings on her sides. Straight up not normal. I'll show you a better example.
Yeah.
She's got a solid stripe and her pattern is kind of wonky. Now I looked at the picture and I told my wife, I said, that's not a normal, because I was only expecting normals and pastel. And things like this were popping out. And I'm like, that is not right. That should just be a pastel. And you can tip her up and show her back a little. She's got the solid stripe too. And
very weird looking pattern for a ball python.
And at first, with my brain, I was like, holy crap, I just found me a new gene that's allelic to clown. So I went the wrong direction with her, and I was wrong. And that next year, so I wasted a whole year. And then the following year, I was working on something else in Justin and what was her name?
Oh yeah, we happen to be watching a YouTube of Canova and Gobel. They were talking about this gene that they were working with, and I was watching the video, and I'm like, "What is that?" That's what we have, and I was just like, "Oh my gosh, like that's the gene." So we had been working it for a few years, just trying to figure out, is it recessive, is it codom, just trying to do the breeding, and obviously it takes years to do that. And we have been working on that for a few years, and here pops up this video. I'm like, well, there's the gene.
So I'm still working on it, and
still work in progress. We're still trying to learn a whole lot about it, but the gene is called the extremist gene. Ken Masick originally found the gene in his extreme gene stuff.
So we sent a few pictures to Ken, and she did, and he kind of confirmed it. And then not this past year, but the year before, I brought the gene. Ken's friend had a few
brought his to NARBC, and
I had her take the pastel over to show him. And as she's walking up to his booth, he goes, "Looks like you have extremists there." I didn't even introduce ourselves yet.
Didn't even have to say nothing. So it was pretty cool to get confirmation of that. So we didn't find a new gene, but we
figured out what the gene was.
Figured out what we were working with,
and
so it's pretty cool.
Still working with him. We spoke to him. She spoke to him text wise today about some newer stuff that's coming out. One of the ones that I have is this boy here that he's het clown.
This is a single clown. So it's just kind of, one of the ones that we have here. It's hard to see it in the video. I know it's kind of hard to see, but
good shot of it.
Yeah, kind of see it there.
In the pattern on the single gene morph, you can see where this is a normal key, right? Hold him up close.
Yeah, I got it right there.
That's the normal key right there. With this key here, the bottom part blooped off and it's floating up to the top. And they do that all along the sides.
Kind of like a lava lamp. It's
like a lava lamp.
But this year we kind of put extremist to extremist.
Both het clown.
Trying to hit a super extremist because we hadn't seen one, so we don't know what it's supposed to look like. And we ended up with this baby. This beautiful baby literally just crawled out a couple days ago. And that's why we were talking to Ken today, trying to get some help with this, because this is just totally beautiful animal. Not exactly what we were expecting, but very nice.
Yeah,
Hold it right there for just a second. I'm going to see if I can zoom in on you guys. If I lose the whole live, I apologize. But give me a second.
Just 1 second.
No. So the app has certain, formats. I wish I could minimize us
Yeah.
and show you guys, but I can't seem to
I
figure
do
that
think
out.
I sent you a picture of this one too.
Oh, okay. I think I have it. I might be wrong. I'm going to flash through them real quick. Is this the one?
Nope.
Okay.
That's one, but not this one.
Okay. I'm going to fire through a lot of the pictures.
There's a lot of silver in it.
A lot of like pixelation.
Yellow markings with a lot of silver in it.
Okay, let me get back over to those pictures. Give me a second. Share screen. And I know that this isn't it, but I just want to bring it up on screen so I can fire through these. Okay, stop me when we hit it.
That one. Back up. That one right there.
Cool.
So,
oh yeah, the head right
Ken
there.
Yeah.
He's pretty much confirmed for us that we do have extremists, that he does see a lot of the markings. He believes there's another genetic that's riding with it. So that kind of confuses me, and I'm going to have to work on that. But
we're really grateful for his input on it because he's been working the gene for about 14 years. He's the one who discovered it. So we've been really grateful for his help in helping us kind of work and explore and asking him opinions and things like that. So, even though we know what it is, we still don't completely.
There's not a lot of people working with it. And, and
a lot of possibilities.
I've been working with it for about 4 years because it popped up in my collection. I found out that I actually had received some snakes that came from one of Ken Mason's really good friends who has since passed. But
that's probably where we got it in the first place.
That's probably where it ended up in my room. But it's been neat because I knew there was something really different about it, but I couldn't put my finger on it. Mm-hmm. I don't care that the gene's already out there. It's very exciting for me that I figured out what it is.
And there's so much untapped potential because there isn't a whole lot of this gene out there. Mm-hmm. There's a whole lot of combinations that like nobody's ever seen. So to be able to have the fun to put it into something different and see what comes out, it's going to be really nice.
Yeah. What I think is really super cool is that you guys are keeping all these records, and I'm gonna reference crested geckos one more time.
Yep.
There are no morphs. There are no morphs, and people aren't really keeping good records. I didn't watch for things. I like pretty colors, and I didn't look for things. Could I have had a lily white or a phantom or a soft scale? Maybe 25 years of breeding almost, maybe, but I wasn't detail looking like you guys are with these extremes. My point is, you never know. Watch your animals, because once you identify something like this, then you have all those records to go back and say, this is where it came from and this is how I can reproduce it. Then the hobby goes, oh my gosh, do you have other babies? Do you have the parents? I don't care if it looks like this or not. I want something with that gene in it.
We've got the grandparents, we've got the kids, and then this would be, I guess, the grandkid generation, so to speak. If you to keep it simple, we're working on like 3 generations of it right now.
Jeez Louise. I've got to show you, and you've probably seen this, but I love the face, the Halloween face here.
Yeah.
And there's another one right here.
Yeah, there's like pixelation in here.
I don't know.
Boogie Boogie.
Boogie Boogie.
We some of the snakes that came out with this genetic mixed with hidden gene Wama actually have all the way down the sides, and I've sold some hidden gene Wama straights. That it happens with hidden gene Wama a lot. But the kids, one of the little kids walked along the side of the table, and he pulled on his mom's pants and said, "Look, Mom, Sid." I looked at it. They had Sid heads all the way down the side.
It looked like they had little faces of Sid all the way on the side of the snake. It was really cool.
Yeah.
And the kids see that. That's so exciting. The kids have that imagination, that creativity, that they see something like that.
Yeah.
And something that we sometimes don't see.
Right.
I'm going to get this one down. Let me show the screen again. We talked about cresteds.
Yep.
I just want to get back to some.
If you go back to that yellow one, I've got a quick show and tell with that yellow one there.
Yes, please.
So quick story about this. One of the other genes that we're working is called solar. A friend of mine had this snake right here, which is a pastel banana solar. And I always tell people, when you get a banana, they're going to fade. Their color is going to fade when they get older. They're not going to be that pretty yellow or whatever. And so when I saw this snake, I'm like, that's still really bright and pretty. And here is the actual snake, not in the picture. You almost need sunglasses. She's so bright.
Highlight yellow.
She is absolutely gorgeous. And that's what attracted me to it. And he's like, you want to work on this project? He's like, I'll sell you the whole project, because he's like, I just think that it's just another kind of pastel. Like there's lemon pastel, citrus pastel, different lines of pastel. He's like, I don't think it's a gene. And I'm like, so I did some research on it, and like way back, I saw some like little blogs and stuff with the gene solar. The other gene it's pastel banana solar is what that girl is. She's pastel banana, and then solar is the other gene. So yeah, this girl right here, yep, right there on the picture, that's pastel banana and solar.
Beautiful snake, just beautiful yellow.
So I put a kind of a mission on my own and said, well, I want to try to see if I can separate it. I want to see if it's a different gene, because I researched it a little bit. And I was like, you know what? I see somebody was working with a gene called solar, and there was no pastel in it. So I don't think it's linked to pastel. And so I began working with it, and it took me several years to actually do it. But the one that I showed you was the mom. I'm going to show you a snake after this. This one is the dad, and this is a blackhead mystic. So this is another beautiful, really dark snake. This is a blackhead mystic, and I'm showing you this because the next snake I'm going to show you is a baby from this pairing, in which I actually was able to pull out the solar gene without pastel.
Oh my!
So I was able to prove that it was not like linked to the pastel, and that was the whole thing with this process. This snake is absolutely gorgeous. This is a banana blackhead mystic solar. There is no pastel in this snake at all. What I love about this snake, if I can get her to kind of relax a little bit, is there's kind of like an ombre look on the side. It kind of gets like
that yellow goes right down to the belly.
When she was a baby, it almost looked like a sunset. It was so beautiful. And that's the solar gene right there. So that's I was able to pull it out, prove that it wasn't part of the pastel. And that's what really excited me. Again, us loving genetics, to be able to do that. Now I can take a snake that has solar, no pastel, put it into some other genes and see what we can do with it.
Now, another fun fact about this snake here is, anybody that knows banana, it gets spots. If you add a bell gene to a banana, this snake is well on its way, and it's only got like 4 or 5 spots on its whole body, and it has blackhead. Now, blackhead usually spots out, but the banana gene takes most of that.
Yeah.
The mystic, is
the mystic is the bell gene. So mystic, Mojave, butter, lesser. When you mix any one of those genes with banana, it takes away the spots. So you don't get the spots in the banana.
When you say spots, is this what you mean right here?
Yeah,
the little Dalmatian spots, crested gecko Dalmatian. Okay.
That's Freckles. I love Freckles. Freckles is one of our male breeders. He's actually part of another project that we're working on. He is banana cinnamon genetic blackback. So that's but he does have the freckles because he
has no bell gene.
He has no bell gene,
and he's not a super banana operative.
Yeah.
Almost said, I'm fascinated with these different genes, and I almost said, how do you keep track of this? And then I thought, Wally, super hypotangerine keratil. So the same thing in the leopard world, same exact thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you'd be talking Chinese to me with all the different genes in the leopard geckos. So
and for me, I grew up in the ball python world. When I started ball pythons, you had a ball python. That's what you had. You didn't have all the colors and patterns.
Maybe a pastel.
It's kind of, in my brain, it's kind of stacked up little by little, and I've been able to keep track that way, I think.
Kind of information like that is just, like you said, stacked on top of, and you've kind of expanded and used your prior knowledge to kind of help with any additional new information. That's super cool.
Yeah.
I find it fascinating, but also very, very confusing because I don't know the names and what each one does with the other one. And I know that we have people in here that understand this, and it's great to see, this information out there, especially the genetic part. I'm going to go back to our snakes here. I showed that one. What is this one? Unless you have another show and tell, go ahead and bring it out.
Oh, no,
No,
that's
that
what
was
we
it for
had.
show and tell. So that is actually part of the Extremist project. That is a firefly, what we believe to be a firefly extremist clown.
What makes it firefly? What's the feature that you can say that's a firefly?
Yeah, pastel is a basic, the yellow in ball python world. It's the new normal, as they say. But the fire part is a part of a brightener gene. Like fire, vanilla, these are all base brightener genes. When you mix the fire and the pastel together, it just brightens it up.
They call it a firefly. When you put
Yeah.
the pastel and the fire together, they call it firefly.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I'm making the reference back to leopard geckos and crested geckos, and I'm
Yeah.
thinking small scales, and I'm thinking leopard gecko world. I'm thinking white and yellow, and I don't mean to bring it up, but like an enigma gene that something nice is going to look nice, but you add in those other genes and it just brightens up and makes the animal look different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, different genes. Once you start getting to know the genetics in ball pythons, you learn like which genes will kind of react how. So if we're trying to make something, we know that Enchi will throw more color and pattern, where other genes are going to, make it darker. Some make it lighter. And when we're doing our pairings for the year, we think about things like that. What do we want to? What we want to make a snake? What do we want it to kind of look like? What do we have, and can we make that happen?
Excellent. What is this one?
That's the same snake, actually.
Okay.
Different shot, yeah.
It's hiding its face, so I couldn't tell. It was kind of, yeah.
Well, that's why they call them a ball python.
Yep. Now
The previous one was
that one's also part of the Extremist project that we've been working. We believe that to be a fire extremist clown.
Yeah, that's fire with no pastel.
Yeah, that's without the pastel.
Jeez, fascinating.
Yeah.
So another clutch. I'm trying to get this over here. So you keep all this information on every single clutch. It looks like vermiculite. You're writing on the eggs themselves. What are you writing?
That's just a fun thing that I do. So the lines on the top of the egg are where the embryo when we candle them, so we keep them upright. So the line is there in case it gets moved or something. We know where it's supposed to be. And for me, the fun, I draw really, really bad, but there's supposed to be a blue rose on each clutch. So that's my bad drawing. And then just for the fun of it, we always put the date on there. And then for the fun of it, we just kind of like take random guesses at what we could possibly have in there. So when we cut them open, we're like, hey, did we hit what we were looking for?
What a great idea. That sounds like fun.
Angie says she loves the doodles.
Yes.
I'm going to get over there now. There's your doodle.
Oh, my bad. What a horrible rose, but every clutch gets one.
What is this one?
That's a corn snake.
Okay.
Yeah, deep in shed.
Oh, really? How can you tell? The eyes or?
Well, the eyes, the fact that the color is a lot duller than it should be. When the snake's in shed, its eyes kind of look cloudy.
Wow. So this is deep in shed, and it's lighter color than it should be. It should be more, it should look more intense.
Yeah, deeper, richer coloration.
Wow.
I didn't realize corn snakes are that big.
That is a Kenyan sand boa. That's an Anery Kenyan sand boa.
So now I knew that one. So now I'm 1 for 48 in my guesses.
Now, Wally, I'm going to give you a trivia question. Do you know why all boas and pythons are part of the constrictor family? Do you know why they give them the name boa or python?
I don't. I tried to think of why, and logically, I have no idea.
all except for one because it was misnamed in the beginning. All boas are live bears, and all pythons lay eggs. It has nothing to do with their size.
And I bet I've heard that 100 times. Seriously.
Here's your
And
random fun fact.
yes, cool.
How many live babies do they produce?
It depends.
Yeah, it
Depends
depends.
on the boa or the python as to how many eggs or babies it lays.
Like
Like
the,
a retic could lay you a full-grown adult mainland can lay 80 eggs, 82 eggs. Ball pythons,
Rosy boas are only like 3 to 4 live babies. That's it.
yeah. Ball
Yeah.
pythons anywhere from 6. I've heard up to 22. I don't know if that was true or not. But.
Yeah.
Nope.
No, they're not saying no. So that's not good to say because I know now not to go to the net and say when we get a snake and we get eggs to say, oh, sweetheart, we have 60 eggs. And then she goes on, 5 or 6 weeks later and says, I only see 58. Where's the other 4?
Nope.
Yep,
Nope.
that's California king snake.
He went home when somebody went.
Yeah, he went home.
Oh, wow.
He found a great home.
Striking animal.
Yes.
Are they easy to care for?
Kings are pretty good, pretty easy.
Yeah, they're pretty good. I would say a lot of the kings, corns, they're all pretty easy. I mean, I think for snakes, the biggest thing is make sure you have the proper environment for them. And then the rest is pretty easy. So, but the king snakes they have a little more sassiness to them, I think. I think they get a bad rap, but I personally love them.
Beautiful.
Oh,
This was our surprise this year. This clutch
this was fun.
Here was a het ultramel girl.
No, it wasn't ultramel. It was a hot desert ghost.
Sorry. I had the other clutch in my brain.
Yeah.
This was a het desert ghost girl. One of our first breedings with desert ghost to a leopard.
A leopard, desert ghost, clown, and hyper.
Pied.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Clown and pied.
Desert ghost. Yeah, desert ghost, hyper
Well, pied is the main part.
Anyways.
So mom was only supposed to be het desert ghost, but as you can see in this picture, she turned out to be het for both. Desert ghost pied, and that's our first desert ghost pied, double visual.
Wow.
That goes back to the whole shed testing thing. Like she's het desert ghost.
You're right.
And had we shed tested her, maybe we would have known she was het pied. But for us, the fun in it was like, she's het desert ghost. Yeah, the leopard was het desert ghost. Pa's het pied. We had no idea she was het pied until poof, that came out.
When she opened the egg, the only part she saw was the white body. She thought she had a Lucy in the egg.
I'm like, how did I produce a blue-eyed Lucy? There's no bell genes in either snake. And then the head pops up. I'm like, that's a pied. Dad's het pied. I'm like, wait, mom's not het pied. Well, I guess she is now.
Oh my God.
Do you ever see that in your geckos? Like, do you ever find like really strange stuff like that in your geckos?
Occasionally, for crested geckos, I'm not working with many of the morphs. I'm very limited. For leopard geckos, I know the morphs, and I generally don't bring in anything that I'm not really 100% sure of. So over 20 years, I've had 2 or 3 cases like that. I had a leucistic pachydaktylus hatch out, and we're working with that.
Nice.
And we had a pachydaktylus fasciatus hatch out that had really the most bizarre markings, and 1,000 out of 1,000 will look exactly the same.
Right.
Every baby has the yellow with black stripes, and this one had a amberant kind of banding, and it was like, oh my gosh, this will be so cool to have something different.
Yeah.
And it died. And it died within probably 3 or 4 days, and I babied the thing and spent
that's
so
the
much
hard
with
part
it.
of the industry, and then a lot of people don't talk about that, but it is the hard part of the industry. Not all of them survive, and it's really emotionally it's still hard. It's you don't want to lose any of them.
Exactly. But we also don't know, if that one would have lived. I had another Periodor picta that, we have the white stripe down the back, which is super cool. And then you have the 3 stripes, 3 black stripes. This one this one had, it looked like a tri-stripe, but it had one solid stripe. And I've never, thousands and thousands of period or pick I've hatched out, I've never seen anything like this. And it died after 3 days. So we just don't know. We don't know about these genes and what, are they good, are they bad, until we start, we get them up to adulthood and we start breeding. We don't know. So, for those working with these special genes,
Yeah.
you, because this is so cool.
And it's good to note that, this stuff does happen in the wild too. It's not just because we have them in captivity. We just don't see it. It's survival of the fittest. Yeah, they don't make it out there either. So
yeah,
that's important to note.
Great point. And something like albinos would never make it out in the wild.
No,
Stick out like a sore thumb.
yeah, they do.
Yes. What's going on here?
So I think that's a GHI. Yeah, that's a little baby that we just cut open the egg on. If they start to pip or we get a couple of that pip in the clutch, then we'll go ahead and cut open the clutch, make sure everybody's in there safe and nobody's kind of twisted up in essentially their umbilical. Make sure everybody's looking good.
And I know everybody in the chat understands this whole process, and I know that we've kept you for a long time. We've got a few questions in the chat, and I have a couple more questions, but can you kind of explain, as you're getting closer to hatch time, can you kind of explain the process you go through with snakes as far as cutting them and the whole pipping kind of thing? Can you kind of walk through that process?
The goal is to wait until at least half the clutch pips. But it depends on what the genetics are in there, because it really starts itching on you if they go a little longer. The 50, 55, and 60, that's my meter, okay? 50, I'm okay. 55, I'm getting itchy. You get it to 60, you're coming home.
Yeah, we're cutting you up. And a lot of it, too, is just looking at the condition of the egg.
Yeah.
Ball python eggs, when they get close to hatching,
they'll start sinking in. And when you give a little, not hard, but just a little squeeze on the sides, you should just be able to feel the baby. And if they're all sunken in, what that is nature's way of knocking on their door. There's an air bubble at the top of the egg. When the air bubble starts to sink down, then the baby is wanting to struggle out to catch that breath. So when you start to see them sink in and they're nice and firm on the baby, it's usually okay. In my opinion, it's just that.
Angie has a great question. Thank you, Angie. And Angie knows this question, but again, I appreciate you asking for this to be explained. What does pipping mean?
She got great questions.
They have an egg.
Question girl.
They have an egg tooth on the bottom of their lip. So when they're trying to struggle, they're trying to get up for that air, but the egg's falling down. What ends up happening is the head, hopefully, will just kind of go like this on the inside of the egg, and the egg tooth will catch the inside of the egg and just slice the hole in it.
Yeah, it cuts like a little slit, and that's called pipping.
They stick their head out.
Yeah,
we call that pipping.
So I've heard these terms. I understand what they are, but here's a question that I never even thought about asking until right now. And I know the process. I've heard it and talked to snake people and pipping, and I've asked that question. But why don't they hatch at that point? So crested geckos will cut the egg when they're ready, and they'll pop out. Within minutes. Leopard geckos, same thing. Why don't snakes, when they pip, why don't they come all the way out? Why don't they hatch?
They may not, but the major reason they don't is their
belly button.
Well, the yolk is at the bottom of the egg, and just because they pit there, they pop their head out to breathe, doesn't mean they're done with that yolk. Even from the beginning when they're laid, the yolk is at the bottom, and then there's like an umbilical cord that comes up to the baby, and the baby kind of floats in the egg. And then you have the air bubble at the top. So the air falls out, they put their head out, but their yolk is not all the way absorbed. You don't want them actually to crawl out before that yolk is at least absorbed to what we call a button, which is where it's disconnected from the bottom of the egg. but it's just like a big belly button sticking out.
And that's their, yeah, and that's their food source for the first couple weeks. So they don't necessarily eat right away when they come out of the egg, and they do come out. It's another week usually before they go through what we call their first shed. And then once they go through their first shed, that's when we start offering meals. But sometimes it could be 2 or 3 weeks, and we find that the ones that have a really big yolk and suck it up, and they literally look like they got this big old belly when they come out, they take longer to eat just because that's their food source, and they're still burning up all those calories from that egg yolk. So it's not uncommon for them to take 2 or 3 weeks even to start eating.
Yeah.
How big are they when they're born or they're hatched? Or
Yeah, it could
that one that we showed you, the one that we showed you earlier, that's only been out a day.
that big? And
Yeah, pull it back out.
No, the little
one. No, I'm going to show you the one that we from the Extremist Project. This one right here.
Yeah.
This one right here. This has only been out for a day.
The one, actually, the one with the picture. You have the picture up right now of that pied, that DG pied. You have that up right now.
I think I do.
Yeah.
If you look at my hand, you can't really tell, but that just crawled out of the egg when I took a picture of it because I wanted to show her. It was literally it just crawled out.
Okay.
I
was wondering what that was. Okay.
Yep.
That's a lot bigger than I thought they'd be when they hatched.
Well, there are some that come out very, very tiny. Sometimes you'll end up with twins, and they're like half the size. And those are ones that sometimes you're lucky enough they'll make it. Sometimes they don't. But they can definitely be bigger or smaller depending on the size of the egg. Sometimes the eggs will come out and they're tiny, and sometimes you'll get like nice big plump eggs. So that has a lot to do with it also.
Normal will be about 70 grams, somewhere in there.
That's a big leopard gecko. That's a really big leopard gecko size. Yeah. So
That's a whole leopard gecko
for people like me. So I just looked over.
Just asked a question. What do you do if they come out too early and they don't absorb that?
That's it.
If they come out and their belly, they're still attached to the yolk still attached to the egg, I'll place them back in the egg, and then I take a small cup with holes around it like a deli cup. I'll put a wet cloth at the bottom, paper towel, set the egg with the baby in there. That way, when I put the lid on it, they can still breathe. And if they come out a little bit, it won't matter. They're not going to run away from the egg. Because when they run away from the egg and they disattach from that too early, that's when they'll bleed out.
So basically, Frank was right. He said they tell them to go back to their room.
Yeah, we stick them right back in. Say, not yet.
I just
and
looked
that's
at
another reason why. That's another reason why we don't want to cut it. We don't want to cut them too early, and that's why we watch that timeline and see where they're at, because we don't want to cut them too early because we don't want them to crawl out too soon.
I looked at Nanette, and she's kind of looking at this picture and turning green. So I think that we probably want to kind of move on a little bit here. Oh, sorry, Nanette. It's the same kind of picture. Sorry. So this is this is really super cool that you have all the information here. I don't see the row. Oh, there it is right there. There's the rows.
But yeah, just because you see those veins in there, they're not essentially, bleeding. By the time that they're cut open like this, they can be exposed to the air. But those are those other veins that just as the baby gets ready and soaks up all that yolk, all of that recedes and it just goes away.
Perfect. Makes 100% sense. Did we talk about this one?
I think that's it. It's hard for us to see the.
Oh, I'm sorry. Pastel, hypo, possible asphalt.
Yeah, that's another one. We're trying to prove out and see if it's got the asphalt. He's got a really good eye for things, and he's like, it just looks like it's got something else.
Who the daddy was?
Oh no, I wasn't paying attention.
The pastel extremist.
Oh, that's right. We put the pastel extremist clown boy to her, hoping to see if we can get the hypo gene into the extremist. So.
I'm trying to put it into recessives.
Yeah. Make something.
How long or how many times do you have to introduce snakes together? For breeding purposes. I mean,
if you zero in on that card, I can tell you how many times Dad was with it.
Yep.
Three times.
3 times, yeah. So
like anything else in life, it only takes one.
But we do the same thing for leopard geckos.
Right.
We'll introduce
I
three
just was
times
curious if it was a one-time
just
shot.
to make sure.
I can tell you though,
Sometimes it's
the
more.
female has a organ where basically the males in the wild will come and visit her, and each time they do what they do, they leave what is called a sperm plug in there. So the first male's plug is in front of the line, and then every male following. Now that first plug may take too long, and all the sperm may die. But somewhere in the middle, hopefully, is a good sperm pack, and whoever gets there first wins. Now, if you introduce more than one male, there's more than one sperm plug from different males. You can have a clutch with more than one dad, but you can't get an egg with more than one dad, if that makes sense.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
I love
She
this
says I
conversation.
ramble on too much, but
No, this is perfect
No.
because I feel out of the whole room here, everybody in the chat, I'm the one that probably needs the education more than anybody. I'm
You
fascinated.
stop by anytime. We'll talk.
Illinois just keeps saying her head is spinning.
Mine is too. What is this? What is this animal?
That's another corn snake. It's just that one's a caramel corn snake. Caramel's the coloration. So it's like the brighter one you saw before.
I don't think I've ever seen one this color.
It's fairly common. It's not
Fairly.
it's not an
Is
uncommon
it?
color.
yeah,
We've
That's
talked
that
about this
highway.
one.
that's that highway.
Yep.
That's that
That's the head
head
ultimate.
ultimate.
And we've certainly talked about this. I remember this one.
see, you remember? Oh, this is. I have to
That's one
say.
of her favorites.
So this is
Is it?
probably one of my favorite girls in the whole room. Most I paid for a snake ever because I bought her as an adult, but she's called an Enchi Calabi, and I just absolutely love the looks of her. She doesn't even have any recessive genes or anything, but I just love her looks.
Karma's back here screaming at me.
What about the snake is really sticking out for you, Jennifer? Is it the
The high white.
Yeah.
The high white is really pretty, and I really like that. I'm a big fan of calico, and she's got Enchi and calico in her both. But yeah, I just really like that really nice, pretty high white, and then just kind of like shattered pattern on the back. I don't know. She's just always been one of my favorites.
What are you breeding her to? What's the have you tried?
So I'm trying to make. I want to add orange dream and yellow belly to the snake because I think it would bring some color back into it with the orange dream and the yellow belly. So this year we've got her paired to like some huge multi-gene boy, and he's got Enchi and Odie and yellow belly and leopard and all sorts of genes. So it's going to be fun to see. She actually did she laid her clutch for us, so we're just anxiously awaiting for her to give us some babies.
Fun. Okay, let me. I think that's our last picture.
Yeah.
That's our last picture. We have a ton of questions, but I'm going to jump. I'm going to be selfish, and I'm going to ask my questions first.
Okay.
Where I'd like to kind of end the show, on the viewers' questions, but I also like to end my questions with, where do you see Blue Rose Exotics in a year or 5 years?
It's maybe it sounds kind of silly, but I go back a little bit. A couple of years ago, I said, I want to vend NARBC. That would be so cool if I could go vend NARBC, because we had always walked around as customers, and I thought this was a really cool expo, and I wanted to be a part of that. And so for my birthday falls around the Schaumburg NARBC. So one year I'm like, that's what I want for my birthday. I don't want anything else. I want to vend NARBC. And we were able to get into the Schaumburg show, and that was super duper exciting. So that was like, yes, I got to do that. So now it's kind of a yearly thing for my birthday. And then, some friends of ours, Dawn, her birthday falls kind of around the fall Tinley one. So we celebrate her birthday around there. But that was like a big accomplishment. I wanted to do that. And I think I'd like to work on our online presence a little bit more, work on our morph market a little bit more, and just kind of expand our reach a little bit. Maybe reach out to a little bit outside of our area. Maybe reach out to try the St. Louis NARBC. and travel a little bit further. We really enjoy traveling. So maybe if we can branch out a little bit further and spread out, that'd be fun.
For me, I'm already where I wanted to be. I did the truck for 30 years.
He got his dream job.
I have a room where I can go and play. I have a few more genes that aren't on the table here that I'm working with, a couple of them that I'm hoping turn out the way I feel they're going to, and there'll be something new or different. And that's where I want. I'm enjoying my retirement right now.
Those are perfect answers, but I'm going to throw you a curveball because you didn't give the answer that I anticipated. So I'm going to get that answer. I'm going to send you right now $100,000. And this is all theoretical. Oh, it's already out there, isn't it?
Hello, where are you getting that?
Okay, I'm going to send you $100,000. What are you going to do with that money?
Pay the house off.
Let me rephrase this. I'm going to get there. I'm going to get there with him. I'm going to send you $100,000. What in the reptile world? It sounds like I'm swearing. What in the reptile world are you going to do with that money?
I don't know. I mean, it would be really nice to be able to expand and upgrade, like maybe our rack systems, or just kind of improve on those kind of things. And honestly,
we have something on order that we're really looking forward
yes,
to.
we're really looking forward to. So we made a huge jump, and we're super excited. Again, going back to keeping everything as local as possible, we kind of put a deposit down on some next level display cases.
Wow.
Which I'm sure you're familiar with Next Level. And we are super excited about that. So just kind of improving on what we have. You gave us the gentleman's contact information for the Gecko cup holders for our display table. That is awesome. It's been able to get those geckos up and people can see them better, and definitely has increased sales just because I think people see them better than laying flat on the table. So just kind of improving on those things and just kind of upgrading things that we have. And
I don't know if we hit it, but that's what we did.
I don't know what you're looking for, but
no, you know
Angie
what?
said build a building for your road.
You stole my thunder. I was going to get there. That's okay though. I was going to say, my first thought is. Go ahead.
I'll clean all the snake poop in the world. If she does that, she's cleaning the rodents.
I do neither.
I have the same exact. My mind did not. If I were to be given that much money, the very first thought that I have is improve enclosures and do things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So honestly,
talk about the animals, right?
I think honestly, I would stop working so that I could focus more on being home with the animals, working with the animals, and just working on everything else. I think that would be that'd be enough to give us a little bit of a cushion for me to stay home and work more hands-on with the animals, because that's the part I enjoy the most.
Nanette, can we take out a loan for $100,000 and send it to them so Jennifer doesn't have to work? I want that so bad.
I would love that. No.
I say yes,
Illinois,
and Nanette says no.
Illinois already said that Nanette and I are splitting the money, so it doesn't matter. She's got my back tonight.
Yeah, she does.
And it's not buying snakes.
I want to show some of these questions, but one is a comment, and I want to show that right now.
I have
Illinois,
a question too.
Illinois Gecko says they are so good with their customers. All I ever hear is good things.
Oh, thank you. We appreciate that so much. We really do. I mean, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for all of our customers, and to be able to share our passion and what we love with other people. I can't tell you how many times we've run into people, first-time snake owners, have no clue what they're doing, but they know they really want a snake. And so we'll talk to them. We'll give them one of our care sheets. We'll make sure they have an enclosure set up and everything that they need to succeed. And I always tell people, I don't care if it's 6 minutes, 6 weeks, or 6 years down the road. You got a question, my number hasn't changed in over 20 years, and it's not going to. Just pick up that phone and call me.
Yep.
Yeah. Heard the same thing about you guys all the time. So hats off. Good job in building this community.
To tag on to that one,
Yeah.
somebody,
yeah.
maybe you're going to read
No, go ahead.
Somebody also made, what does this Illinois one say? It might be the one.
No, that's right. What I'm going to show that real
Okay.
quick.
Illinois also says, no, it wasn't Illinois. It was somebody else that has purchased a snake from them and said that they got the best information. They got all the information that they needed on the
Thank
feeding
you.
schedule, and that is a huge thing for them.
Thank you. Thanks for bringing that up.
I know it's in here somewhere. But
Carolyn has about 28 more questions. So
she's got a
what's
notebook going.
what's the most combinations of genes that you've seen in a ball python? Good question.
Well, yeah, and that is a good question, because you could take a 6-gene animal to a 6-gene animal, and now even I couldn't tell you what's in there. Whether or not it looks good or not is up to you. But
There's so much in there you can't idea it.
yeah, the more you mix is not always
Better.
the best way to go. It's more knowing what to mix. I mean, for instance, if you're talking about animals on the table to sell, I will always do blue-eyed Lucy's. Now, most blue-eyed Lucy's everything's gonna start hatching here in the next couple months, and you're gonna find blue-eyed Lucy's on everybody's table.
They're the first ones to go.
They're the first ones to go.
Those hides.
Mine stay at a certain price level, and I leave them there because I know that in another 4 months, you're gonna be hard pressed to find one because they sell so easy. So sometimes simpler is better than too much mix.
100% agree. I would imagine, and correct me if I'm wrong, but if you had a 6x6, it would take you years and thousands of animals to prove out that initial pair of exactly what those 6 and 6 were, if you didn't
Correct.
know.
Yeah.
Or you send in a shed test.
Speaking of shed tests, that's our next question.
Oh,
And I hope I get this right. And if I'm saying this wrong, 8305. Blue Rose, is my shed test, they can see genes in my ball pythons that weren't even listed when I picked them up.
so
I been getting that for a lot of years. One show I went to, a guy walked over to me, and he says, I've been walking around. He says, I hear you're the snake guy. I'm like, I don't know what the snake guy is, but you know, but yeah, I've gotten that a lot, and that's just because of my love of the genetics. I can't guess at all, especially when you mix too much. But I'm certainly a lot better at seeing things than a lot of other people may be. But
well, and, sometimes you're talking about stacking genes on top of genes. When we ID our snakes, we're going to label them for what we absolutely positively know is in the snake. But there might be a possibility, for example, we said those allelic genes, yellow belly and gravel, are both allelic. If the parent was a super, we really don't know if it's got yellow belly or it's got gravel. We know it's one or the other, but we don't know which one. And that shed test could tell them definitively which one it is.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is, a lot of times nowadays people bring snakes up to me and be like, what do you see? It's like,
Or the parents.
have the pairing, because some genetics, when you start mixing a lot of animals in, look the same as other genetics. So it really helps if you want to ask me what's in there, if you knew what I started with.
Yeah. It goes back to the importance of keeping all the genetics and keeping
Right.
the hatch states, the parent, and look back and see.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I'm going to say it just absolutely the opposite way, but probably saying the same thing. The shed test will tell you, okay, I have 3 genes, I think. Can I make sure that it's these 3 genes? And then the shed test comes back and also says, it says that, it shows you that if it is or isn't, but it probably also comes back if you wanted it this way and says what it's not, what is not in that snake. Correct?
It
No,
can.
well, it
Well,
can.
it's not going to tell you it's not there, but if it doesn't show up.
As long as it's a genetic that's already been known.
Yeah.
Like if you think it's a clown because it's got so much genetics in it, it may come back and say it's not clown.
Yes. That was my point. I went too far wrong with that, but perfect.
Yeah.
Guess who? Carolyn again.
Hi, Carolyn.
Thanks for the great question.
She's trying to convince somebody to get a snake, I think.
How many genes? Dustin's watching this and probably asking these questions too. How many genes of a ball python are there?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, good Lord. I
I don't
didn't
think I
even
could
know the
count. We don't
answer
have
to
enough
that
time
one.
for that.
I don't know.
There's so many.
There's so many new ones coming out.
Yeah,
too.
there's a lot of new ones that, people are starting to work on. I mean, I would say we've got at least a solid 2, possibly 3 genes in our collection right now that aren't out there at all, that we haven't seen anywhere, that we're trying to work and prove out too. So it's endless. There's so much out there that's untapped still.
And it's gotten so confusing that a lot of times things will ride over. Like the Raven, I think the Raven turned out to be
chocolate.
chocolate.
Yeah, the shed testing is actually helping prove some of this stuff. So there's a lot of
Yeah.
benefits at shed testing, and helping prove that, like Hurricane and Trick, they're the same gene.
Well, and then there's still the long debate of the confusion and the
Yeah, standard or butter and lesser. They still keep going back and
they
forth.
keep going back and forth. But yeah,
But to go back to what you said, they don't have all of the genes established yet, and they've been asking. So there might be. I have to relate it back to my knowledge of leopard geckos. There might be something that it looks like a nice carrot tail, but there might be white and yellow in there, and they don't know about white and yellow, which is a gene that enhances color. So maybe there is something in addition to whatever they're showing, whatever they're giving us back.
mm-hmm.
There could be. I mean, that's how you find new genes in the first place. Something weird pops up, and you're like, "Hey, what's this?"
And in my old-fashioned way, I mean, I got like breed everything to figure things out, like the Lucy. So sometimes there's 2 things going on there, and it throws you off to which one's which.
Exactly. Angie, again, with a great question. Do you have any of your animals on bioactive?
So this is a funny story. So we do have customers that do keep their animals in a bioactive. So I am fantastic with animals. I am horrible with plants. I wish I could say I was better, but I'm really, really bad at keeping plants, and that I don't know why. The only thing I've ever been able to keep alive is an orchid, and I've been told that's a really hard plant to keep alive. But I have strict instructions: 5 ice cubes every Friday. So that's what the orchid gets. But yeah, I mean, I think if I was better at keeping plants, I would, because I think they're absolutely beautiful, but I'm just not good at plants.
This is how bad it is, Wally. One time as a gift, I bought her a pineapple plant that already had a pineapple on it. And she asked me why. And I said, because when you kill it, I'll have something sweet to eat.
So planning ahead, just thinking ahead. That makes sense.
You gotta have a plan.
In my defense, SpongeBob is still alive. So
The pineapple's gone.
the pineapple's gone, but SpongeBob is still alive.
Okay. JP is asking, if you would discover a new gene, what would you call it? And you can choose the color of it. That's a tricky question.
That's kind of interesting, because we're kind of working with a gene right now. A couple of genes, actually. One we're calling highlighter, and the albino form of it literally comes out highlighter yellow. Hey, great. But I don't know that I would necessarily pick anything. I think people asked for purple snakes. If I could make a purple snake, and we're working on that, by the way, that stays purple, or pink, like a pink ball python. They don't really have pink ball pythons. You can get like a snow corn snake, and it kind of has a pink undertone to it. But I'd probably pick like a color that's weird for that.
Side note for you.
Yeah.
The champagne to champagne is a lethal gene.
Yeah.
If you have lived and they're actually pink.
Ooh.
Really?
Not something we would normally.
They don't live long. Yeah. They only live a few days.
Yeah. But yeah, to actually make one that would be like I guess like a brighter color like that. People ask, do you have a pink snake? Do you have a purple snake? No. But you know what? I would make a blue snake. I would make a blue.
I was gonna go. If we could make a blue snake.
Python, that would be it.
Love it. And what would you call it?
Blue rose.
There you go. A little. Perfect.
So creative.
Right around with that one.
Yeah.
Grapes. Frank says grape soda.
Grape soda. There you go.
If anybody else has any questions, bring them up right now. I'm going to ask one more question.
Sure.
And that is, this has been a phenomenal show. We've gone way past what I was hoping to keep you guys here for. Phenomenal. Thank you very much for sharing. Thanks for tolerating my snake ignorance and enlightening me And Nanette's just like, we're going to show that one egg cutting picture here again.
That didn't bother me.
Nanette, look away, look away.
It's the big screen that you got here, and you keep enlarging the picture.
How can people find you? And I know that there's many
Frank has
different
been
ways
shooting
here.
things
Yeah,
out.
Frank has been doing an amazing job with your links, but kind of tell people how they can find you.
All right. Well, first of all, Frank, thank you very much. We appreciate all your help with that. Nanette and Wally, thank you so much for having us on. We've really had a fun time, coming on here with you, and we appreciate you doing that with us and inviting us on. But as far as finding us, we do have our new Facebook business page, and that is if you search for Blue Rose Exotics Inc., or I'm sure Frank's got the link down there. That's a place to find us. And our Morph Market is also good. I will admit I'm not as good about getting stuff put up on there because we go to an expo and it sells and then I got to take it right back down. But that's something I'm going to work on, try to make it a little bit better to list more of our snakes on our Morph Market. And then obviously seeing us at any of the expos. We travel the Midwest. We go all the way up. We do the scaled up expos up in Fond du Lac and Green Bay and Madison. And La Crosse, and we go all the way down to Bloomington, Illinois, Davenport, Iowa. We've been over to Indiana as well. We're trying to expand on that. So any one of the expos, people can come out and see us as well.
All
asked-
animal show, obviously.
Somebody
yeah.
asked where you're located.
Yeah,
we're in we're in Rockford, Illinois.
Cool. The guys, go out there and find these wonderful people on Facebook, Morph Market, and even if you're not interested in snakes, follow them, and especially if you're interested in snakes, take a look at their page because there's some amazing pictures. I tried to catch some of them, but there's so many great pictures. You guys are wonderful people. You have a great business. You have amazing animals.
Thank you.
Thank you again for all that you've done for us and for the community with the 12 Supreme Days of Christmas. We love having
Our pleasure.
you at the event. You've been wonderful. Great session. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Yep.
Thank you. You guys have a wonderful evening. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everybody. Good
Bye.
night.